Imagine for a second that you're directing this, like, massive, multi-million-dollar sci-fi epic. You've got sweeping, neon-lit cityscapes, complex practical effects, a soaring orchestral score.
And like hundreds of extras moving perfectly in the background, right?
Exactly, all of that. But now, imagine doing every single piece of that from a childhood bedroom in Miami, and doing it basically for the cost of a broadband connection.
Which, I mean, it sounds completely like science fiction.
It really does. But today, it isn't. It's actually exactly what this guy named Carlos Rodríguez, who is affectionately known in our source material as James, just did.
Yeah, his story is wild.
Right. So welcome to today's deep dive. We are unpacking these incredibly dense notes and technical outlines surrounding James and his whole journey. Because honestly, his story represents a complete structural collapse of the old Hollywood system.
It really is a collapse. I mean, for a century, that cinematic dream, it came with a strict, non-negotiable entry fee.
Yeah, and a required Los Angeles zip code.
Exactly. And our mission today is to look at what happens when those invisible gates are just violently blown wide open by new technology.
So to start, I want you to imagine holding on to this massive lifelong dream, but feeling completely physically and geographically locked out of it.
Right, which takes us away from the abstract idea of filmmaking and straight to Miami, Florida.
Yeah. Let's talk about Miami. Before we even get into the crazy tech stuff, we really have to understand James himself.
Absolutely. The notes we have paint this picture of a guy who has just been obsessively studying the language of film since he was a teenager.
He's not just a casual fan.
No. He understands framing, he understands pacing, he knows the psychological weight of like a wide shot versus a tight close-up, but there's this one huge problem.
He was born and based in Miami.
Right. And historically, the film industry has operated under this incredibly strict geographic dogma.
It really has. If you weren't in Southern California, you were basically out of luck.
Yeah. Because the physical infrastructure of filmmaking, the massive sound stages, the specialized grip houses, the pop rental facilities, all of that was centralized.
And the talent pools, too.
Exactly. So if you were in Florida, like James, you were attempting to participate in an industry that physically just did not exist around you.
Okay, but let's unpack this for a second, because I want to push back a little. It seems strange, doesn't it?
How so?
Well, we constantly hear stories of people moving to LA to chase their dreams, right? And we've had the internet for decades. We have remote work, digital file sharing, Zoom.
Right, the world is super connected.
Yeah. You'd think the geographic barrier would have eroded a long time ago. I mean, it's like a rare plant tried to grow in the wrong climate.
Yeah.
If James was so obsessed since he was a teenager, why didn't he just pack up a car and go? Is geography really an excuse?
That is the perfect question, and it's something the sources address directly. It's rarely just about the physical distance.
Right.
That geography is inevitably tied to crushing economic realities. Filmmaking, until very recently, was essentially an exercise in heavy industrial manufacturing.
Oh, that's a fascinating way to put it. Heavy manufacturing.
Yeah, because moving digital files is easy, sure. But traditional filmmaking requires moving physical mass.
Right. The logistics.
Exactly. If you want a shot of two actors walking down a futuristic street, you have to physically transport those actors, plus a 50-person crew.
And a caterer and, like, several 5-ton grip trucks full of lighting equipment.
And secure physical permits. The internet couldn't solve the logistical nightmare of moving tons of equipment and people around.
So the industry just stayed stuck where all that infrastructure already was built.
Exactly. And that physical centralization created this secondary, far more insidious barrier, which is the financial wall.
Yes, the rent. So looking at the data in our sources, and it just outlines this cold mathematical reality of the Los Angeles film industry.
The numbers are staggering.
They really are. We are looking at a baseline entry fee of like $1,800, $3,500 a month just for rent in the areas where this industry operates.
Just to have a place to sleep.
Right. So if you are a young, unestablished artist, maybe you want to move across the country, you're looking at needing over $40,000 a year post-tax, strictly to keep a roof over your head.
And that is before you even buy groceries or pay for a car, which you absolutely need in LA.
Exactly. And this requires abandoning your previous life, your support systems, your local networks back home.
Which leads to this incredible aha moment in the sources. The barrier to entry in Hollywood isn't just a lack of talent or even a lack of connections.
It's literally the housing market.
Yes. Real estate appreciation acts as an economic barrier. The industry unintentionally filters out brilliant minds who simply cannot afford the baseline cost of survival.
Here's where it gets really interesting to me, though, because we have this culturally ingrained image of the quote-unquote starving artist.
Oh, the classic trope.
Yeah. We romanticize it. The guy who survives on instant ramen in his beat-up car in LA and eventually directs a masterpiece. But is that just survivorship bias?
It is pure survivorship bias.
Because for every one person who makes it, are there like 10,000 who are financially crushed by a $3,500 rent bill?
Exactly. We only hear the stories of the people who survived the car and the ramen. We never hear from the thousands of others who ruined their credit and had to retreat back home.
Because they just ran out of money.
Right. The romanticized Hollywood struggle actually masks a deeply ingrained systemic class bias.
Which is so frustrating when you think about the art itself.
Because knowledge and art suffer when only the wealthy can afford to participate in the medium. The system relies heavily on unpaid internships and working for exposure.
And you just cannot survive that apprenticeship period without a massive financial safety net.
Which usually means generational wealth. If you are constantly terrified of eviction, you do not have the cognitive bandwidth to take massive creative risks.
You just play it safe. Or, I guess you leave the industry entirely.
Unless you are James.
Right. Unless you're James in Miami. This is where the narrative shifts. Because he didn't pack the car. He didn't try to raise $100,000 for an indie film.
He hit the AI turning point.
Yes, the sudden, disruptive arrival of a totally new toolkit. We're talking about artificial intelligence tools in filmmaking.
And these aren't just slightly better editing software tools. The sources detail how AI can now generate and manipulate high-definition images, video, music, and special effects.
Literally a studio on a laptop.
Exactly. And these tools directly dismantle those economic and geographic barriers we were just talking about. It brings about the total democratization of access.
You don't need to move. You don't need to rent an expensive soundstage in Burbank.
Or hire a massive crew to get professional-looking effects. You can create from anywhere.
It reminds me of the invention of the printing press. You know, taking book creation away from these highly funded, exclusive monasteries and just giving it to the masses.
That is a perfect analogy. The bottleneck is gone.
But I do have a critical pushback here. Because, okay, what does this all mean for the art itself?
What do you mean?
Well, if a computer is generating the video and it's writing the sweeping cinematic score, don't we lose the human magic of collaboration? Does the art become too sterile?
A lot of people worry about that. But the sources address this by explaining that AI is a tool of execution, not a replacement for human vision.
Okay, execution. Explain that distinction.
Well, AI has no intent. It doesn't know why it's generating a sad violin track or a dark lighting setup. The human creator must possess the artistic intent.
So it shifts the logistical burden, like moving people and cameras, to digital logistics.
Exactly. Digital logistics like prompting, generating, and curating, which actually places even more value on the human creator's unique ideas and direction.
Which brings us back to James, right? Because theory is fascinating, but we need to look at how this AI democratization looks in practical reality.
Right, the actual execution of his minimalist masterpiece.
Yeah. He actually achieved his lifelong dream. He made his movie, and he did it using AI.
But the critical detail in the notes is that his film is a mix. It's a hybrid of real elements and AI.
That is such an important distinction. He didn't just open a program and type, "Make me a cool sci-fi movie" into a prompt box.
No, not at all. By mixing real elements, like actual human actors or physical props, with AI enhancements, he acted as a true director.
Right, he's anchoring it in reality.
Yeah.
He might shoot an actor in his garage in Miami against a blank wall, capturing the real human breath, the micro-expressions.
And then he uses AI for the world building, the effects, the music.
And he did it on a budget that is just minimal compared to traditional Hollywood standards.
Minimal is almost an understatement. He was able to punch at the weight class of a major LA studio by cleverly leveraging this technology.
Sitting right there in Miami. So it's like he built a multi-million-dollar backlot inside his computer hard drive.
Yes.
But if he's mixing real footage with AI generation, where is the line drawn? Is he the director, is he a curator, or is it just something entirely new?
That is the evolution of the filmmaker. Finding the perfect blend of reality and generated content is the new creative frontier.
It requires totally new muscles.
Exactly. A traditional director manages human logistics. James had to direct a machine, which requires a totally new set of directorial muscles.
He has to make sure the practical lighting in his garage perfectly matches the directional lighting of the AI environment he's generating.
Right, he's curating thousands of micro decisions.
Which means James's story is not an isolated incident at all.
No, it is the canary in the coal mine.
Yes. The seismic shockwaves are hitting the broader entertainment landscape right now.
Yeah.
We are talking about a massive structural shift in the industry.
The constant emphasis throughout all our source material is this. It is no longer necessary to move, change your life, or be wealthy to make professional films.
AI is the ultimate solution to those historical barriers.
Because if geographic location and wealth are no longer prerequisites, the power dynamics of the entire industry flip.
The gatekeepers have literally lost their gates.
Completely. We are looking at a decentralized film industry.
I just try to imagine a world where the best movies of the year don't come from Hollywood. They come from Miami or rural Iowa or some tiny village halfway across the world.
Whose talent is globally distributed, and now the opportunity is too?
But wait, I have to push back again.
Yeah.
If everyone, everywhere, can make a professional-looking movie from their living room, do we run into a massive signal-to-noise problem?
Oh, absolutely.
Because without the Hollywood system filtering things out, even if it was a flawed, classist filter, how do we find the good stuff among millions of new creations uploaded every day?
That is the core friction of this new era. But here is so what's insight from the experts?
Okay, hit me.
In the old system, execution and production value were the premium commodities.
Right. Sweeping helicopter shots and massive explosions.
Because those things were rare and expensive. But when execution becomes cheap and accessible to everyone, production value drops to zero as a differentiator.
Oh, wow. So if anyone can make a shot look like it cost $10 million, the spectacle doesn't matter anymore.
Exactly. So what becomes the true premium commodity?
Original ideas.
Yes. Original ideas, unique life experiences, and brilliant storytelling. The filter completely shifts.
It shifts from who has the money to make this look good to who has the best story to tell.
You cannot prompt an AI to have a profound, nuanced human experience.
Right. You can't prompt cultural heartbreak.
Right.
Only a human can bring that undeniable truth.
So this decentralization actually places the ultimate reward squarely on human imagination.
That is incredible to think about. We've gone on quite the journey today. Let's bring this deep dive full circle.
Yeah, from Carlos Rodríguez in Miami to a whole new industry.
We started with a teenager obsessed with cinema, but trapped by LA's exorbitant rent and physical geography.
And we saw how he became a modern pioneer, mixing real elements with AI to bypass those Hollywood gatekeepers entirely.
Which is why this matters so much to you, the listener.
Yeah.
This isn't just a story about movies.
No, it's about a structural shift.
It proves that technology can dismantle class bias and geographic limitations in almost any creative field.
The accessibility of our biggest dreams has fundamentally changed.
And it leaves us with this final, lingering thought to mull over. We've spent our whole lives believing the physical and financial walls of these exclusive industries were impenetrable.
But if those walls have truly fallen,
what excuse do any of us have left for not bringing our own impossible ideas to life? What if the greatest visionary of our generation isn't trying to move to Los Angeles, but is currently generating their very first masterpiece from a laptop in their childhood bedroom?